The Fallout TV show. Let's talk about it, because there is a lot that we need to discuss. I'm mainly going to be concentrating on episode 1, but I am going to be also pulling from different episodes to give context when context is necessary, so everyone understands everything. There is going to be spoilers ahead, so you have been warned. So without any further ado, let's just jump into the Fallout TV show. So we have good news and some bad news. The good news is this show is way better than I expected, because I expected a complete disappointment. The bad news is that this show is nowhere near the word good, sadly. I would honestly just flat out rate it a 5 out of 10. A 5 out of 10 if you're just averagely watching it. A solid 3 out of 10 if you are actually thinking along what's happening in the show, why it's happening. Because the show is kind of built on the premises that you're supposed to ask questions, but the moment you start asking questions, you understand that the showrunners never took even a single second of their time to try and make anything make sense in this universe. And there's going to be a lot of examples why that happens in the future. But if you're someone who just wants to relax, not think about anything too much, then this could even be a solid 7 out of 10 for you. But on average, I think this is complete mediocrity. But again, if you liked Avatar, you're probably going to like this show. This is the hugest retcon also that we have ever had in the Fallout universe. The good part is, you don't have to know anything about the games to watch this. And if you know about the games and you're watching this and hoping it's a faithful adaptation, well, you will be extremely disappointed. Anyone who tries to tell you that this is a faithful adaptation to the source material is either blatantly autistic or lying to your face for whatever stupid reason, because this is not. The Brotherhood of Steel, no one even knows what they are at this point. Ghouls are no longer ghouls. Vaults, what do vaults even do? Who honestly knows at this point? And I kid you not, everyone on the surface is blatantly autistic. And I'm not even being mean, that's just literally how they portray almost every non-main character. We're gonna get into it a lot. It's beyond wild, okay? But yeah, it's watchable. The good part is it's watchable. But the storytelling here is just atrocious. But there is a good side. There is a good side to it. The characters, almost all of the people in the show are really good at acting. I absolutely love them. Especially the ghoul, whose name is Walter Goggins. People were talking about Walter Goggins a lot before the show released, that he's amazing. And yeah, I understand now why. Whenever the ghoul is on the screen, absolutely love it. So let's get into it. This is the first episode. This is how it all starts. We are introduced to the ghoul before he becomes a ghoul, and we get to see the bombs drop. And when I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, holy, is this amazing? This is great. This is so good. I love everything about this currently. The way it sets up the atmosphere. You can feel how people are nervous about what's about to happen, because the bombs are going to drop any moment and everyone kind of knows it, but they're trying to live their lives. It's beautiful. It is truly absolutely magnificent. Until the moment the bombs actually drop. Because then we are sadly introduced to the absolute ineptitude of the showrunners understanding reality. Currently, my working understanding about Fallout TV show is that the not the developers, but the showrunners never even took a single second to think about, how does this make sense, what's happening on the screen? Not in a single point, I think, this happens. And, well, there's a lot of classical problems that actually come with it. For example, the main characters all need to meet up, and they do. But why do they meet up? Well, all of them meet up pretty much at random. They just randomly have MacGuffin reasons that just suddenly appear, or they just randomly are in the right places. So the storytelling is a flat out 1 out of 10 at best, honestly. Things just happen because they happen. There are no hooks that get you in. The first hook actually that starts to get explained, that starts to get pushed forward, is what happened to Vault 32. And that's episode 4. That's in the middle of the season. And until that point, things are just purely happening at random. There is no cause, there is no effect. We are just following a story that expects us to completely eat up everything that's happening. Oh, they need to do this, but not at a single point there is any explanation why what is happening is important. Okay, even though they make it blatantly clear what's happening is important, but we get no absolute explanation, so that's a horrible thing. But anyway, a little bit more about the very start. When the bombs drop, you can actually see the problems with this. Everything until that moment is absolutely perfect. And after the bombs drop, actually everything yet again is perfect, which is the craziest thing. And the bombs dropping, I feel, completely perfectly encapsulates how little of life the showrunners understand, as it's typical for Hollywood. When the bombs drop, it is hard to understand. Is this happening in slow motion, normal speed, fast forward, or what the hell is going on? Because when the bombs drop and the explosion happens, no one notices it. But his daughter, it's like she's like looking at it. What's that, Daddy? And then he looks at it, and you see the destruction that the bomb is creating, and it's actually pretty good. But then it overstays its welcome. It seems like it's slow motion, but the explosion doesn't happen in slow motion. But then they cut towards the humans, and it seems slow motion, but the bomb is not exploding in slow motion. And if it is, it does a really bad way of showing it. And then the shockwave happens. And when the shockwave happens is, if you know there's a shockwave, you're like thinking, so where's the shockwave? Is it just not coming, or what's happening? And then the bomb is exploding in slow motion or something, and the shockwave comes, it seems like it, more the speed than it should. And it's really awkward. It completely fizzles your brain to try to understand, is this slow motion, normal speed, fast forwarding, or what is exactly is happening? And this is going to be a constant problem throughout the show. Not the slow motion part, but just how badly things don't conform to reality and how you wish they did. But anyway, the bombs drop, he rides away, we see it, and then we cut to Lucy. And then again, it's amazing. Because Lucy gets such a great introduction to a degree. You see her activities in the vault, she's introduced perfectly. Goddamn perfectly. And again, all of the actors in this show are just great. Great. Every single one of them is doing a great job. They're doing everything great. But the dialogues and things that are happening kind of betray them. But thankfully the actors are so good. You get introduced to Lucy, and everything that she does is explained. She has martial training because that's what they do in a vault. It's shown in a neat way, and you're thinking, man, this is gonna be woke, isn't it? With that martial training, she's gonna beat up dudes like there's no tomorrow. She gets her face smashed in, but that's a little bit later. I'm getting to that, so don't worry about it. But you kind of understand her as a person, the same way you actually understand the ghoul as a person, which is really great. It's really great. You actually feel that she's a normal person, even though there's strange things, because this is how bad the writing is, okay? This is where the writing, how bad it is, starts to show itself. Now, everyone with half a brain understands that in the Fallout universe, if you were actually in a vault, people would die out because, after 3 generations, everything would be a hugely incest baby, and there's no way to avoid it. And this is where the vault indoctrinations come in, how they do things and whatnot, and you can see that they're going for the idea that she's indoctrinated into the way that the vault works and, you know, vaultic and all of that good stuff. And to a degree that seems right, but actions then, you know, kind of put that aside. A very off-putting thing is about how they're talking, oh, we're cousins and we can't have babies and whatnot. And then this thing about a second vault comes up. Turns out their Vault 33 is connected to Vault 32, and if that's confusing and strange, don't worry about it. It gets a lot worse. And this is not even the prime of the confusion that we're going to be talking about, okay? And so, to actually have genetic diversity, they have this exchange of people with the other vault every 10 years, which makes absolutely no fucking sense. And this is what I'm talking about. She wants to sign up for the exchange thing with the vault, but when the exchange thing actually happens, the vault doors between the two vaults open, and she doesn't go to that vault. Just a rando dude gets sent into their vault, who's now her husband. Well, how is this even called an exchange if you're not exchanging anything? You're just marrying off them and giving him... Where's the biodiversity on the other side? And all of this comes into play to the idea that the vaults are really small, even though the vaults are actually shown to be pretty huge. Now, admittedly, at the start, you're thinking that the vaults are as big as in the games, like super small and whatnot, but no. There are multiple scenes that actually show that these vaults are giant, not silo levels of giant. And by the way, if you want a really good post-apocalyptic survival thing, type of story, go watch Silo. It is amazing, okay? Fallout fucking wishes it was Silo. It does everything good. But yeah, so, you see only a couple of people in the vault, even though the vault is like multiple levels, and it seems super giant at some points when they show it. Which is honestly, it feels strange, okay? But here's the deal, okay? The people from Vault 32 are raiders, actually. Vault 32 is dead. And if you're not thinking along, this already, even for the people who are not thinking along, this is like super fucking what the hell is happening? Obviously something's wrong with these people. So they go in, do the ceremony, and then at one point, the raiders just start killing people. Yeah. And, well, they kill a lot of them, but they choose to spare them for some reason. And they take her dad, who's the overseer, for whatever reason. And, that's pretty much it. And you have so many questions, especially later. I mean, this is already confusing, but there's no better way to explain this because this is just how poorly the show is written. Okay? So, turns out, when Lucy gets attacked after having sex with the raider, and yes, that happens because she really wants that sperm count, or what, it's really awkward and strange. They try to do this indoctrination of Vault thing that she has a different mindset, but it completely fails on all levels. Okay. After that, the raider she slept with tries to actually kill her, and she's fighting him. And he completely smacks her face in, okay? He stabs her. She uses a stim pack, she's fine, and she, by pure luck, manages to kill him. By smashing his head with a glass jar or something, and then slicing his neck open by accident. Well, I'm not sure by accident, she kind of flailed and it happened. And he's dead. But surprise, surprise, he's not actually dead. And at this point, she has already technically made her first kill. After that, she gets a syringer and she goes out and there's all this murder fighting going on. And she takes the syringer and shoots a guy in the eye socket. Yeah, he's not knocked out. He's dead. Okay? He's dead. And then the guy that she killed by slashing his throat open comes magically back to life in the same episode, by the way. And his cheek is sliced open for some reason. We didn't see it. It doesn't make any sense, but this is the TV series that we're talking about. I'm just explaining how nonsensical a lot of these things are. And then her father saves her. Okay? So now you probably have questions about the Raiders. How the hell did the Raiders get in? Well, they pretended to be the Vault 32 Overseer. Yeah. Turns out the leader of the Raiders was having conversations with her dad, the leader of the Vault, and then they did this thing. They did the exchange that's supposed to happen every 10 years, which is exactly when it was supposed to happen, which is great timing, by the way. A pure coincidence and whatnot. But there's a lot of pure coincidences in the show, so don't worry about it. Like, the fact that the Raiders get in is completely nonsense. First of all, you would have to believe that these Raiders took out the Overseer. The Overseer didn't write anything that they're under attack to the other vaults that they're connected. And by the way, yes, it's not just 2 vaults connected for no apparent reason whatsoever. It's 3 vaults connected. And the Overseers, you know, talk with each other on a pretty regular basis, as much as I understand from each vault. And so these Raiders, who are, by the way, portrayed to be literal morons, they're literally like, you know, constantly on crack or something, and they can't act like normal people for a moment. And by the way, a lot of surface dwellers cannot even act like normal people for a moment. They're almost half of them are portrayed to be just literally mentally deficient. It's crazy. And it does not work, by the way. It works terribly. They're like Beavis and Butthead, but dialed to 11, and everyone's like that for the most part. It's crazy. Okay, so how did they pull this off? How did the Raiders pull this off? Don't know. How did the Overseer not, or anyone in the vault, considering they do meet up time to time and do these exchange things, how did they not recognize a single person there? Don't know. How the hell does someone who is not black but has a tan exists in the vaults? Don't know. Don't ask questions. Turns out, by the way, you know how Lucy figures out that the guy she slept with is a Raider? The pit boy just literally reads off him, the guy, as being radioactive because he does have radioactive poisoning, as everyone on the surface does, right? But no one's pit boy said anything when they entered. It makes absolutely no sense. The whole premise of what happens in the vaults here is nonsensical. After that, we find out that the Raiders aren't there to take over the vault. They're just there to take Lucy's dad away. And, well, they started just mindlessly killing at random, and their hope was that the dad survives, probably at random. They really needed him, but there you go. Start killing at random and hope that the dad survives, which he does, obviously. And then they take him. The Raiders don't finish anyone else off. They don't say anything. They don't explain themselves. You are clueless why any of this happened. And here's the kicker that you learn around episode 3 or 4. Turns out this Raider invades by pretending to be Vault 32 is even more impossible than you would think. Because Vault 32 has been dead for 2 or 3 years at this point. So, who the hell was constantly talking to the other Overseer? No one. Because the Vault 32 Overseer is dead in his chair, tied up. So, how did they actually talk to each other? I don't know. How did this not raise any suspicions? Don't ask questions, just consume product. That is the answer. The moment you try to think about what's happening, it makes no sense at all. But Lucy's a likable character at the end of the day. She, well, to a degree. She has the shtick that she doesn't want to take human life or whatever, but she already cut the throat of one guy, didn't even scoff at it. Then he'd come back to life with a cut, this thing, and no one batted an eye. And then she shot a syringe through someone's eye, and he's dead. And she's like, "Oh, we don't kill people." That doesn't last long. Thankfully, she mans up real quick. She has a decent character progression, by the way. So, that's kind of good, but everything is just so questionable. Like, again, the writers did things, but then they did not consider how would these things ever even make a single shriek or single lick of goddamn sense. So now she's off to find her dad, like in Fallout 3. Yeah, like in Fallout 3. So, she goes out and blah, blah, blah. Then, the ghoul. This is the ghoul now. And, this is the ghoul now. And by the way, again, every scene with the ghoul is pretty good. You like him, he's kind of understandable, he's a rough guy. But then again, the minus of the ghoul is he's in multiple positions where he should just kill Lucy, but he never kills Lucy. Why? No real reason actually is given. The first time he meets Lucy, he actually does pull the trigger on her and tries to kill her, but he's out of ammo, sadly. So that's kind of lucky. But the second time he meets Lucy, and the third time, and the fourth time, and the other times, he just keeps her around for no reason, and it doesn't make too much sense until a point he tries to sell her. And that does make sense. But again, this show is like woefully bad at explaining things. Like, why did the raiders come? No idea. Why did they need your dad? No idea. Again, the first hook happens at episode 4, where people suddenly want to actually explore what happened to Vault 32. And that's just one dude who wants to do that. It's really bad. There are no hooks. If you want to watch it and enjoy this or not be mad about it, you need to be aware that whatever you see in front of you is going to be random, not explained, and whatnot. Then we have the Brotherhood of Steel and Maximus. Okay? I'm going to talk about the Brotherhood of Steel now. So where are you, bunch of fucking losers who are going to say, oh, the Brotherhood of Steel is a Christian organization, they're religious. Yes, they're religious. And when you see the Brotherhood of Steel, you actually like, yeah, this is the religious zealotry that we're talking about. But again, they're not Christian. They have their own Christian religion. And by the way, I want to see all of you stupid idiots who said, oh, they're Christian. Where are you now? Because they're not. And they're clearly portrayed as not that. They even talk about their religion. That paladins are pissed that they have to risk their lives for toaster ovens because it's a relic. You see? What I said is their religion. I'm right. Because you didn't play the games, you didn't care about anything, you didn't remember anything. I'm right. Eat it, losers. Anyway, that's pretty much all. The Brotherhood of Steel makes absolutely no sense here. Beyond that, they seem kind of cool, but when you look at it, it doesn't make sense. For example, this scene right here. This is the first time you see the paladins, and they come off the vertibirds, and well, there's this smoke coming out from the top. Above them, there's nothing. It's literally just there in complete broad daylight for no reason. Nothing's above them, no vertibirds, no anything. It's just there to make them look cooler. Yeah, this is the level of what the fuck are we even doing there? And this is a Brotherhood Knight vs. Yagwai. And this got me scratching my head so much. This is not the first episode, by the way. When this happens, some of the CGI, some scenes look so atrocious. It's like 2 frames per second and sad. But some other scenes actually look really good. And it's the same fight. I don't even understand it. Like, some things that happen here make no sense. Some things that happen here are so good. It's just absolute blatantly craziness. But that's the Brotherhood of Steel. And now let's talk about Maximus. Great actor, but sadly Maximus is a completely wasted shit tier character. Okay? I don't know how... The only way that you can explain Maximus is lazy, stupid, uninspired, a loser, a bully. And he's not a bully because he's a loser. He's a loser and a bully. He's not a nice person. He is not a likable person. And I honestly think there's gonna be no redemption. Now, I haven't seen, by the way, all series. I'm missing a couple. But, man, what kind of redemption is gonna be there? So, let me explain what they wanted to go here for Maximus and how his character was supposed to work, but they completely dropped the ball at it, okay? So, his whole thing is that he got saved by the Brotherhood of Steel as a kid, and from that point he wanted to be a Brotherhood Knight. Paladin, to be precise, I think. And he's in this training camp. And this training camp makes absolutely no sense. The Brotherhood of Steel, as they are portrayed, cannot exist as an organization. It's just like a fucking... It's like a 10-year-old, you know, try to create what he thinks the army looks like to a degree. And this is what the Brotherhood of Steel is. They have their religious zealotry of, you know, technology and whatnot, which is portrayed to a decent extent, and they have this indoctrination of their recruits, which is woefully stupid. The Brotherhood of Steel would cease to exist in a matter of days if it got materialized in the real world, okay? New recruits get beaten. The first time we see Maximus is when he essentially gets beaten. Thankfully, this is not a Vogue moment that he gets beaten because he's black, because guess who's beating him? Other black kids, that's right. Nice. And there's no explanation why he gets beaten. Is it because he's an idiot? Is it because he's a failure? Is it because he's better than everyone else? Is it just random violence? I don't know. But yeah, and then it's shown that he's not, he wants to be this aspiring paladin whose, by the way, main goal is to hurt the people that hurt him, which doesn't make sense and doesn't make sense in the indoctrination, because he's also really thankful to the Brotherhood because they're supposed to be the good guys and save people, but that's not what they do at fucking all, by the way, here in the series. It just doesn't make sense on any level. Not a single thing. If you pick two things in the Brotherhood of Steel that you see portrayed, they don't mesh together. They are completely the opposite. So, again, Maximus is supposed to be this guy who wants to become a paladin, but he's weaker than everyone else, he's stupider than everyone else, and he seemingly doesn't even try to become better. Like, okay, maybe you're not physically the strongest, right? But then you should learn things. But Maximus is a fucking idiot who doesn't know basic things about being a Brotherhood anything. He's just a moron. He is so woefully portrayed, it is insane, okay? And then he gets mad that he doesn't become a scryer for a knight. Well, a paladin, I guess. I'm not sure. I don't care about the Brotherhood, about their ranks, boys. I'm gonna be real. I don't like the Brotherhood at all, and you know it. I am full-on Enclave. Anyway. So, he doesn't become a squire to a knight, and then he gets really pissed about it. And then his best friend, who is, I have no fucking clue, is it a boy or a girl? It's a literal it. I'm not even lying. Okay? Someone puts a razor in that thing's, boots, and then the leg's bad. And the first thing they do is they take Maximus and interrogate him. Did you do it? Like, why? We don't understand. We don't understand anything about this character. Is he good? Is he evil? Does he try hard? Does he not try hard? Is he not an idiot? Is he an idiot? Like, it's so confusing. Nothing about him makes sense, and none of the actions of the Brotherhood make any sense, honestly. And then he gets interrogated, and he's like, "I'm thankful to the Brotherhood," and then again he reiterates, "I want to hurt the people who hurt me." Who are the people who hurt you? I'm pretty sure the Paladin killed the people who hurt you, my dude. Like, what the hell? What is this? And then he become a squire. And then we see the complete utter destruction of the Brotherhood of Steel, in the sense that So, Squires are essentially meatbags, flesh puppet servants to the paladins that are essentially sacrificial, replaceable pawns that are just luggage people. And the paladins themselves are complete jackass assholes who just want to shoot things because they're bored and they don't care about anyone's lives. And they hate the elders because the elders force them to go and find toaster ovens because they're great relics or something like that. It's dumb. It is so dumb. It is dumb on every account imaginable. And then Maximus's point happens, you know, they go in, they find the Yogwai, they fight it, and the paladin is injured, right? Because Yogwais clearly are stronger than tanks. Oh, and the Brotherhood armor looks really stupid from the back, so don't look at it from the back ever. Yeah, because it doesn't look like armor, it looks like a cut-out cardboard. From the back, at least. So, the paladin literally just toys with his life, and when the paladin gets injured, he says, okay, when we get back, I'm gonna get you executed because I don't like you. And then Maximus, who said, I would never hurt a brother or whatever, just says, no, I'm not gonna give you the stimpak, you die now, fuck you. It's comical stupidity, okay? It is like Starfield trying to write a serious storyline here. It's just comical levels of stupidity. And thus the paladin dies, he gets into the power armor, and, you know, then he's an absolute failure. And it doesn't get better. So, at one point, Maximus gets a squire delivered to him because who honestly cares if the paladin checks in or, you know, they just believe him to be the new paladin without any problem. So they give him a new squire, and this guy is one of the guys who bullied him and beat him up. And this is the point where we almost get some character development from Maximus, and good character development, but we don't. We fucking don't. Of course we don't. So, the new squire doesn't know that it's Maximus in the armor, and because you can't tell the voice differences, and so essentially Maximus just makes fun of him, abuses him, and things like that. And the crazy part is, when that squire gets here, who is supposed to be replacing Maximus, he's instantaneously like, please don't kill me. So everyone in the Brotherhood of Steel, that essentially, this is not told to us, but from everything that happens, everyone in the Brotherhood of Steel constantly hate everyone. Their indoctrination is stupid, doesn't work, and just pisses people off. And everyone in the organization knows that they can be replaced, killed, and murdered at any time, and that their lives just, you know, weigh in the balance if someone's having a good day or not. It is just horrible. It is just absolutely horrible. Now, there is a good moment where Maximus has a moment with that guy, because the guy kind of explains, and this is really good. I'm gonna tell you how it goes. This was a really good part that I think maybe could redeem Maximus, but it doesn't at the end, sadly, because Maximus still chooses to be a dick for no reason. Again, he's just a stupid bully. He's just a loser, stupid bully. And I don't think there is redemption for him. Maybe there is in the last couple of episodes, but again, yet to see them. But currently, there's no redemption for Maximus. He's just a sad, squandered character, which is sad because, again, actor, really good actor. In any case, you know, he orders his squire to tell him bad things about Maximus, or to talk about him. And the guy who doesn't know that the guy in the armor is Maximus says about him, well, it sucks that he died. I did not hate the guy, actually. He gives this explanation that, hey, when he got first to the base and he was the new guy, everyone beat up him and the other new guys that came in. And then Maximus came in, and well, then they started beating them, and then they were amongst the cool kids and whatnot. And, you know, he says he wishes that Maximus survived a little bit longer so the new batch of recruits would come in and then Maximus would have also someone to beat. And it kind of sounds strange, but if you see it, you kind of get it, why that's actually not that bad of a storyline and why it actually is a good moment. But again, Maximus completely fucking squanders that shit. Then they need to follow the ghoul. Don't ask why. don't ask why. And turns out his Maximus's current squire, who doesn't know it's Maximus, is so much more capable than Maximus, which just further nails in the idea that Maximus is a complete moron. Okay? He knows gadgets that actually help track abominations and whatnot. He actually does a good job. Maximus is like a complete idiot. It's crazy. Not that that saves the Brotherhood at all. It's still a bunch of shit, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, now let's get to this. These are other characters because, you know, we have Dogmeat. And Dogmeat has a great story. This is the guy who raises up Dogmeat. And he's a part of the Enclave. He runs away from them. With what? Don't know. Why? Because he had Dogmeat, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, it's a completely strange thing. He's an Enclave scientist. And it looks like the Enclave are living actually a decent life. And they're rebuilding civilization or whatever. And, you know, they're training dogs and whatnot, and he's doing it, and he saves a puppy, and then it's Dogmeat, you know, it's Dogmeat and whatnot. And it's kind of good. You see him, he interacts with Lucy, then they get here, and this is a Wastelander that's, you know, interacts with Lucy. She instantaneously calls Vault Dwellers idiots, and they are. Even though most of the people of, like, the way that they portray people is crazy. Most of the people above ground are just blatant morons. They act like ADHD children on cocaine, okay? It's just horrible. It's like all of them are just complete dipshits. It's crazy. It's really bad. But yeah. There are some great scenes, especially with her and especially with him, you know, sacrifice and, you know, things of that nature and whatnot. There are some good scenes in the show, but these scenes are good on their own. They have no pretext, they have no setup, they have no meaning other than just being there for the moment and being cool. But anyway, yeah, that's honestly all I want to say at the moment for this. Maybe we're gonna go a full rundown of the series, how it is. The actors are awesome. Lucy is awesome. The Ghoul is awesome. I hope Maximus gets a redemption because it's just such a squandered character because they don't know how to make him happen. Well, then again, they also didn't know how to make Lucy happen, but thankfully Lucy didn't hinge on the, you know, Vault-Tec indoctrination storyline too much or anything, so it's good. The Ghoul has a backstory. I don't know. Again, it's watchable, but don't expect too much of it, okay? Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid saying thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.